Mites, lice, internal parasites, these are things that you will come across at some point in time in your chicken keeping career. There are those people that say that they've been keeping chickens for like 10 plus years and never deal with these things. And I would say that I want to buy stock from those people because they have incredible immune systems and resistance to parasites. I want that stock. Diatomaceous earth is not an effective treatment to get rid of lice or mites. Some people believe that it's a good preventative in like dust baths or food, but here's the thing. Diatomaceous earth can be really nasty for the respiratory tract of chickens. You got to consider that even humans are supposed to wear masks, so it just doesn't make sense to put in the dust bath for chickens. It works by breaking down the exoskeleton of insects with an exoskeleton. It doesn't work immediately on contact. So in my opinion, it doesn't work well enough, if even at all, or fast enough to really help remedy an infestation once it's started. With the idea of putting it in food, once diatomaceous earth gets wet, it's really also rather ineffective. So I have not found an effective way that is safe to use diatomaceous earth with our chickens that I trust. Elector PSP is one of the absolute best products on the market. The active ingredient in it is this stuff called spinosad. It's like a naturally occurring organism. It's something that's used in organic gardening. It's an ingredient in some like dog deworm. I can't remember exactly which one. So it's something that's used really commonly. It's something that's accepted in organic practices, and it's very safe. There's no egg withdrawal period with Elector PSP, and it treats live parasites, live lice and mites, as well as their eggs. So you really should only need to treat one time, and it kills everything, as opposed to other methods of treatment. You want to make sure that you treat your coop as well. Remove any bedding from the coop, burn it, spray down any nooks and crannies, any nesting boxes, everywhere. You can even spray the ground with Elector PSP. It's actually like a premise treatment as well. When I have treated my birds in the past with Elector PSP, I have done two different things. I will always mix a mixture of 9 cc's of the Elector product per 1 gallon of water, and I have both sprayed my birds down. Now, Elector PSP is different than like Ivermectin Poron, for example. With Elector PSP, the insects, the parasites need to come into contact with the product, as opposed to Ivermectin, which seeps into the skin of the chickens, and so when the parasites bite the chicken, they inadvertently get the anti-parasitic via the blood. Elector PSP is not that way. The bugs need to come into contact with the Elector. So as I sprayed down my chickens with the Elector PSP, I made sure to get really well under the wings, really well around the vent, really well around the neck. And I mean, you want to get really, really good in any places where there are bugs. A lot of times lice like to be, I've seen them like up around the neck and the face. So you want to make sure that you spray down the bugs anywhere they're going to be walking, and any eggs. I have also created several gallons of this mixture of 9 cc's per 1 gallon of water, and I have dipped my chickens in them. Now, I have done this on like warm, sunny days, first thing in the morning, so the chickens have time to dry off. And when I have used this method, I have been really mindful to like move the feathers of the chickens while they're in the water, because the feathers are like designed to not let water get through them. So you got to kind of maneuver the feathers around the vent and under the wings, so that the solution gets up underneath the feathers to the skin. Now, I have done this with mite infestations before, and the amount of mites that were like just floating in that water that died immediately off those chickens is embarrassingly alarming. It is a really effective product. Elector PSP treats for mites, a couple different species of mites, and lice in chickens. Now, over the last year or so, I have actually transitioned into using Ivermectin Poron in my chickens to treat mites and lice, because it also treats intestinal parasites and scaly leg mites. And so I really like that 4-in-1 treatment. Now, the downside to the Ivermectin is that you have to treat again 10 days later, because Ivermectin does not treat eggs. It only treats live parasites. So you want to treat 10 days later to catch anything that may have hatched in the meantime. There is a 14-day withdrawal period for Ivermectin, although honestly there's conflicting information. What I found is about 14 days. Now, egg withdrawal period means that for that time period we don't eat the eggs, although my family does eat the eggs. We don't sell the eggs or give them away, because sometimes those anti-parasitics make their way into the bloodstream of the chickens, and we don't necessarily know how much of that is transferring over through the oviduct into the eggs. So there's no way to tell how much of that anti-parasitic is like making its way into the eggs for about 14 days, I guess. After a chicken is treated for intestinal parasites, it's not uncommon to actually see them shedding even more of those intestinal parasites and the poop over the next couple days, but they should be dead. They should not be moving at that point. When I've used ivermectin, I apply anywhere from about 2 to 9 drops, depending on the size of the bird. I will make sure to apply a couple right around the vent, right on the back of the neck, under the wings. And like I said, ivermectin works kind of similar to like a revolution in cats, where it seeps in through the skin into the bloodstream, and then as the parasites bite, they contract the antiparasitic then. So you don't necessarily need to get it all over the body. You might want to wear gloves though, because probably you want to be careful about it seeping into your own skin, although we could probably all use a good deworming. I used to be somebody who was really adamant about a positive ID on intestinal parasites before treating, or even external parasites, and I still support that. I still respect and understand that we don't want to contribute to parasite resistance by overusing these medications. But also, I've kept chickens long enough to know that mites, lice, and intestinal parasites are a thing that we're going to see. So at this point in my chicken keeping career, I will treat my birds twice a year without a doubt, no matter what. Chickens infected with mites and lice who are suffering from like infestations can deal with secondary illnesses contracted by the mites. We could be looking at a decrease in egg production, weight loss, anemia, vitamin deficiencies. I mean, infestations can cause all kinds of problems and real discomfort for our birds, and that's why it's important to treat. I have noticed though that it kind of seems like there's like always 1 or 2 chickens in each run or each flock or whatever that are way more affected by these parasites than others, and I'm not sure why that is. I'm not sure why there's a sacrificial chicken. In any case though, when one is infected, I will treat them all. Having these parasites present on your farm, it does not mean that you have poor pest management control. Sometimes even with the absolute best preventative measures, dust baths, apple cider vinegar in the water, or whatever things you're doing, these things still find their way into our flocks. And so it's good just to know how to treat when they do pop up.